What's going on, everybody? It's good to see you. I know it's late, but I mean, I wasn't even going to go live, but I mean, like, I've already got everything set up and I'm not in the least bit tired, really, because I've been drinking coffee. So, and I'm trying to locate a scanner. I've got a scanner app here on my phone, and I'm trying to find out what's going on with Crystal Springs. And welcome to all the new subscribers from the Dad Challenge podcast. So big shout out and thank you to Josh for having me on there. And thank you guys for subscribing. So yeah, I'm not finding anything. Hold on. What is this? Is there anything coming on here? Yeah, I'm not getting anything on the scanner for Pasco County, which is where Crystal Springs is. So if something comes up or if somebody hears something, let me know. Let me see here. Yeah, mine's just police scanner, but whatever. So earlier today, the big news is that earlier today, a federal warrant was issued for Brian Dirty Laundrie. And for those new subscribers, I got a little bit of a different style than Josh. So forgive my crudeness. I just don't like to hold anything back. I think the guy's a complete and total douche. And I'm not going to lie about it. So that's just how I am. Now, I'm very, very interested in why this warrant was issued. And as I was saying in Josh's chat, and I say this on this channel a lot because I like to remind everybody, people who think that justice isn't being served swiftly enough and it's not being served fast enough. Well, like I said, the reason why they're not so quick to make arrests or issue arrest warrants is because they may not have enough evidence. Every time they execute a warrant or issue a warrant, it's usually based on whatever evidence that they've already collected that they know, or they can be sure, or at least extremely confident that will lead to a conviction in court. So we have to be very, very careful. No. Josh is not a douche. I'm not saying Josh is. I'm saying Brian Dirty Douchey Laundrie is. And I say that so unapologetically. I can't even express to you. But so I know they switched to Citrus County. Jinx, what are you doing, dude? Cat's over here messing around in the window blinds. I know they switched to Citrus County to a private channel so they could have done that in Pasco County. That's probably what they did. He's a total douche. He's an absolute douche. I mean, we know this guy slapped his girlfriend around, at least allegedly, based on the witness call. But I believe it because, like I said, in an earlier live that I did before, I went over some opinions that were expressed by a forensic psychiatrist who looked at that body cam footage and came to the conclusion that she is scared in that video. In that body cam footage, she is scared. She is not having an OCD attack as she's claiming. He was also saying that he doesn't believe, now if she is OCD, he doesn't believe that she was the violent one or the aggressor because OCD people are generally not violent. Actually, he just said they're not violent, flat out. But she does strike me as the type that would fight back. So we're going to speculate a little bit as to what happened as well. Now, there's no way for us to know because we don't actually know the cause of death, but we do know that that Gabby Petito, her body was found, and thanks to Red, White, and Butane, the YouTube channel, thanks to their footage from their RV, they were able to find that her remains now and that evidence. But what's really interesting about that, I want to keep. What's up, Jason Ginnier? What I want to do is I want to keep the focus on how important it was for them to have that footage, because make no mistake, that YouTube channel finding that footage, that couple on vacation from their RV, getting that footage and coming across it while they were editing and turning that into law enforcement led, make no mistake, it led to them finding her body. That her body could have gone who knows how long, if ever, from being found. That's just, there's no way around that. I mean, in those, under those conditions, I mean, weather, animals, all kinds of things. All kinds of things could play a factor in what could have happened to her body. And that, people, is key evidence in getting a conviction against Brian Laundrie once he's charged, if he's charged. And we're going to get to that too. Now, that, so really, 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 really big kudos to Red, White, and Butane for providing that, because that's incredible. It could have been so long, if ever, for that evidence to be found. And let's not forget how important it is that this family has gotten at least that much closure. Obviously, justice still needs to be served, but at least the family got this much closure, and they're able to take their baby home and give her a proper burial or whatever they do to honor her. So I'm very, very I'm very, very relieved for that. I keep seeing that. People keep talking about that looks like someone digging. Can one of my mods find that video that Todd Kimberly's talking about? I want to look into that. I want to look into that, because I don't think that that's the case. Because when the RV approaches, right? The RV approaches, you can see that van door closing in the back. I am totally convinced that that van door is closing as that RV approaches. And I'm assuming it's because they saw the RV approaching. So whoever was in that van, which I believe was Brian, it's debunked. Okay, that's what I thought. It's debunked. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm not buying that, because I looked and I couldn't see. Yeah, it's a tree. I saw a tree. That's what I saw. Well, the thing is, Todd, I've looked at it and I've looked for it. And I get it. I get, if once an idea is planted in your head, you almost want to see what other people are seeing. And the eyes can play tricks on you, man. But the thing is I looked really carefully to see if that van door was actually closing, and I watched it a bunch of times. I even showed an enhanced video of that happening, and I'm totally convinced that that van door was closing because Brian saw the RV coming up. Or allegedly Brian, but we know he's guilty. Come on, people. We know he's guilty. You don't come back alone without your girlfriend after having an argument with her, police stopping her, and then and then as soon as that happens, you lawyer up. That doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Innocent people don't do that. You lawyer up and then you take off and then you disappear. You're on the run. So let's take a look real quick at the federal warrant. All right. All right. So the United States of America versus Brian Christopher Laundrie. I like to say Laundrie. I don't care if it's pronounced laundry. Any authorized to any authorized law enforcement officer. Though, so that right there means that any law enforcement officer in the country can absolutely apprehend and arrest him. They have jurisdiction. Everyone has jurisdiction as far as arresting Brian. So you are commanded to arrest and bring before a United States magistrate judge without unnecessary delay Brian Christopher Laundrie, who is accused of an offensive violation based on the following document filed with the court. And the indictment is checked off here. The offense is briefly described as follows: use of unauthorized access devices. So basically, what's going on here is what I'm hearing. I don't have any absolute confirmation of this, but what I'm hearing, it's because he was using a credit card fraudulently. And Josh went over this stuff very, very thoroughly. So I definitely believe he was using her card, and that's what they were using to get him. Now, understand something. People are like, well, why isn't he being charged with murder? Well, they're catching him with this. In my personal opinion, this is just a means to be able to apprehend him quickly, and because they're still collecting evidence for the murder. They don't have an airtight case on that yet. If I'm guessing, they don't have an airtight case on that yet, but they have an airtight case on this, and this is going to be enough to apprehend him and hold him until they get enough evidence for Gabby's murder. So Crime Story says there are 2 gas stations. They said he used the card at Illinois in Illinois. So yeah, let's keep in mind, guys. We want to be we want to be all, we want to be all, well, law enforcement, it doesn't make sense what they're doing. It doesn't make sense to you, but it makes perfect sense to the professionals that are charged with the responsibility of building a case against this person. So we have to trust law enforcement. They are the professionals. We are not. We are just YouTube people. That's it. Well, that's because, right, I'm explaining exactly why that is right now, Shadow Dancer. Right. So the charge is a 15-year sentence if found guilty. Okay. And I promise you that a federal judge is going to throw the book at this guy. So he's going to get the max, which means that he'll be eligible for parole in what, like 5 years, maybe 3, 4 years even. But that still gives a lot of time to collect evidence and build a case. So they're going to take that if they can get it. This is their strategy. I promise you that this is their strategy right now. I honestly don't know, Valerie, at 4. I honestly don't know yet. Right. Exactly, Canine Rescue. Now, initially I was thinking, well, this is a means for them to be able to question him, hold him and question him, which they'll be able to do. But if he's lawyered up, well, then, I mean, they could only question him so well, you know. That's why people shut down and they say, "Nope, I want a lawyer." Not saying a word without a lawyer, and that lawyer is there to tell him what to say and what not to say in order to not incriminate himself. Now there's also the rumors flying around about no, not hold him for 72 hours, nothing. I mean, if they got him with something that they can keep him locked up for 15 years with, yeah, the 72-hour thing goes right out the window. So I want to address the rumor about Jose Baez, who is Casey Anthony's lawyer. I want to address that rumor. Now, it would make sense because you know they're in northern Florida, they're in that area, and you know, I don't know. That turned out to I think be debunked as well. But fret not, people. Fret not. First of all, don't ever be surprised if a high profile attorney takes on this case, because it is a high profile case, and a high profile attorney is going to want the press. They're going to love the press. It just makes better for their it makes better for their business. It makes better for their firm, for their practice. Jeepers creepers, they don't want to risk losing him again if they pick him up. I originally thought he was dead, but now I'm not so sure. Seems like the FBI, I never thought he was dead. I just want to be clear about that. I never thought he was dead. What? Road King, come on, dude. Yeah, if I'm Brian Laundrie, Road King, I like Casey Anthony is pure kryptonite. You don't want to be caught around the most hated woman in America. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm staying away from Casey Anthony. I don't want any kind of attention. And somebody in Josh's chat made an excellent point about wearing masks. Absolutely. I mean, if I'm him, if I'm on the run, I'm masking. I don't care what my opinions are on masking. I'm wearing a mask because it's not only socially acceptable, it's socially expected in most places. So yeah, hat, mask, sunglasses, the whole nine. The whole nine. So well, here's the thing, man. It depends on what he used the cards for. Because if he used them at an ATM, well, then there's footage of him at that ATM. You know what I'm saying? There's cameras on ATM machines, but maybe not all of them. Maybe not the ones in service stations, but the service stations have cameras. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't know. This is something that I was tossing around back and forth in my mind. Do I think he'll actually get caught? Yes, I do. Yes, I absolutely do. I think that there's so much pressure on the FBI right now that they are prioritizing this guy right now. Absolutely. Listen. I've said this 100 times, dude. I'm in Tennessee right now. We don't COVID here, bro. We don't do that. At least most people don't. Like the mayor of the county that I live in used to be he used to be known as Kane in the WWE. His name is Glenn Jacobs, the Big Red Machine, right? He is now the mayor of Knox County, where I live, and and he actually wrote Biden a very, very eloquent letter respectfully saying that we will not be following his mandates. So yeah, when it comes to vaccination, it's just, yeah, we're not doing that. But that's a whole nother issue. But you better believe that if I'm wanted by the FBI, I'm wearing a mask. I was thinking that too, Todd Kimberly, but no, not so much. I'm not thinking that. So the search there in the in the area where he lives in Northport. I'm thinking that it is for him, but I'm still thinking I'm going by the whole Baker Act thing, which many of you know I'm quite familiar with. Uh, so the whole Baker Act thing, if you're considered a danger to yourself or others, they have to prioritize. They look at it as they're potentially saving a life. So they're looking as hard as they can for you. Um, and and I believe that was a strategic move by his parents to report him missing because it bought him time. I thought that he went the other way. That's why I'm thinking this Crystal Springs thing is probably not even related. I mean, it's Florida. There's a lot of manhunts that take place in Florida for God knows what reasons. So I'm not 100% convinced on this Crystal Springs thing. Um, so, but I'm thinking that it was a strategy of misdirection by Laundrie's parents, who pretty much, in order to cover their own butts, they report him missing. So it gives them plausible deniability. They say that they think he's a danger to himself, which it's rumored is what they did say, and therefore they have to scour the area where they send them and say, oh well, he told us he was going to be over here. And but why did they wait 3 days? You know what I mean? Why did they wait 3 days? Yeah, canine rescue. I'm thinking that too. Uh, I'm thinking either blunt force trauma or strangulation is what I'm speculating, because I absolutely think it was a crime of passion. I absolutely think that he lost his temper. Uh, and saw red is what they always say. Oh, I just saw red. I don't know. So I'm thinking that that's pretty much what went down. Uh, you know, so and oh, here we go. This I always wanted to address too. So I keep hearing the Cuba thing, right? Let me explain something to you guys. First of all, uh, most of my friends come from Cuban descent, right? Or they were actually born there, right? Um, First of all, they don't want him there. I'm telling you right now, they don't want him there. I promise you that. There's no Cuban who does not frown on the idea of male on female violence. I promise you that. Um, it's just as frowned on over there as it's frowned on here. They're not just going to open up their window, open up their doors to to escaped fugitives. They're not doing that. And don't forget, back in what is it, 80 or 81? Scarface was about this movie. Scarface, like in 80 or 81, what did Castro do? Castro threw all of his he threw all of his criminals on boats and sent them here. He sent them all here. They don't want. I mean, you see the footage in the movie Scarface. I've seen that movie 100 times, where Castro's like, "No los queremos, no los necesitamos," right? So that translates to, "We don't want them. We don't need them. Get them out of here. Get them out of here." They don't want his element in Cuba. They're not going to give this guy safe passage. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what's on paper that says that they can. It doesn't matter. They're just not going to do it. And Josh doesn't believe he's in Canada. So I mean, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm telling you right now, he goes to Cuba, he's probably going to get killed. Somebody recognizes him over there, he's going to get killed. I mean, there's an old outlaw in the old West. I believe it was Arkansas Dave Rudabaugh, who was beheaded by when he entered Mexico, sending a message to other outlaws from the United States to not enter Mexico because they don't want that element there. You know what I mean? Yeah. See, you've got to think about things like this. I mean, you don't just think of, there's a lot more to certain things that are just like, okay, well, they don't have the extradition laws that we have or whatever. That doesn't matter. You also got to think, how do they feel about that type of element over there? You know what I mean? They still have the right to be like, no, man, get out of here. And he's subject to their laws. I don't know what Cuban prison's like, but considering what life is like over there, I don't. Yeah, everybody who's in Canada basically says he's not here. So, yeah. Thank you, Cherry. Guys, if you haven't hit the thumbs up yet, please do that. Especially do it for the great Cherry, the best mod on YouTube, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree with that too. He's not on the road attracting attention to himself, getting cited like Bigfoot. That's not what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like he found some place and he's staying there until he figures there's heat on him for that place. If there's heat on that place, that's when he's moving. Until then, he's good where he's at. He's good where he's at. You know what I'm saying? Why would he travel around like that? It makes no sense and risk being cited if he's found a nice place to hide. I mean, I don't know if he's in a cabin or not. I mean, whose cabin? You know what I mean? Sorry, I have to check my phone for alerts here sometimes. Now everybody keeps talking about the Facebook that he's posting on Facebook. I mean, and then I saw somebody in Josh's chat say something about that his Facebook and his Instagram are connected, and that's how you know that it's his Facebook. But I'd like to know for sure if his Facebook is actually like, but I don't. I mean, maybe, maybe, but the thing is they have to have probable cause. And you have to understand that it takes resources to keep your eye on somebody and track them. I don't, just because someone lawyers up doesn't mean that, oh, okay, well, we're gonna stick agents on him and follow him everywhere he goes. Not necessarily. They didn't have enough information. She was only missing. She could have just, at the time, she could have just left. She could have been using him. They could have planned this as a couple and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like it's you can't blame the FBI for the. I'm sure there's a technical reason as to why they did not have him followed. That's bold. That's bold. I hope so. Yeah, I heard that yesterday too. I mean, but I got sidetracked when I was talking about the rumor about Jose Baez. Um, you know, you know, people are scared of that. People are like, oh my gosh, if he gets Jose Baez, he's going to probably get off because he got Casey Anthony off. No, 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 not necessarily. Understand something. If you know the facts of the Casey Anthony case, it was not Jose Baez that got her acquitted. That's not what happened. The prosecution failed to prove. That's what happened. The prosecution, now he did his job because he was supposed to create doubt, but the prosecution failed to prove because what happened was it came out later that Casey Anthony, after being interviewed by police and then being sent home prior to her arrest, she went back and it was proven because the timeline was worked out in this way. Because the question was, did her dad do it? Right? No, because when she went back home from being interviewed, the first thing she does, she gets on her Firefox browser on her computer, and she deletes a search, and that search says foolproof suffocation. Now, if you remember, they found duct tape near little Kaylee's body, and there was residue found on the skull, I think, that matched the duct tape. So I think, I'm not 100% on that, but I know it had something to do with duct tape. Duct tape was found near there, or residue of duct tape, something to that effect. But but they believed her to have been suffocated, and unfortunately, the body was really, really decomposed at that time by the time that they found her. And this should tell you how difficult it is to actually find a body, because Kaylee Anthony's body was found. The duct tape was on her mouth. Okay, thank you. Kaylee Anthony was actually found just a few blocks from the house. She wasn't far at all. So, and she was already very well decomposed by that point. Now, what happened was she goes and she deletes this Firefox search that says foolproof suffocation, right? And when she does this, what's up, Shyla? When she does this, her at the time of it's clear that based on the clock in time for her dad to have gotten to work, he had to have been on his way to work. She was the only one in the house, so she had to have been the one to delete it. If they had caught this during the trial or before the trial, she would not have gotten away with it. She would not have been freed. So don't think just because somebody has a great lawyer that necessarily means that person's going to get away with whatever their crime is charged with. So whatever the crime that they're charged with. So yeah. Yeah, everyone followed that as it was going on. I even kept some tabs on it back when it was happening. Now, yeah, people are comparing. Well, yeah, no. I'm in full agreement. I absolutely think OJ did it. I absolutely think Casey Anthony did it. Absolutely, totally. But the thing about OJ, that was pure luck. Not now, Johnny Cochran, great defense attorney, but OJ had a team of great defense attorneys. First of all, they were known, if you remember correctly, at the time of this trial, they were known in the press as the Dream Team. So, uh, so when you have somebody like Johnny Cochran. Now, Johnny Cochran was already trying to create the narrative that the LAPD were racist and OJ was a target of a racist police department, right? And like magic, who would have ever saw this coming? This had to have been the defense attorney gods anointing OJ Simpson and Johnny Cochran, because Johnny Cochran ends up coming across some tapes of Mark Furman describing how they would racially profile someone and frame them and plant evidence. I mean, basically bragging about it on tape for somebody who was supposedly trying to write a screenplay. And this person comes forward and goes, well, I have Mark Furman on tape saying that he planted evidence and his buddies in the police department planted evidence and all this. I mean, that, considering that jury that they had, there's just no way you're going to get 12 of them to convict after that. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And you got to also consider, I mean, everything came together in concert. Everything came together for OJ's case, for OJ's trial. You had that on top of the fact that, politically speaking, remember, the LA riots just happened. A bunch of cops just got acquitted for beating a man of color on camera, beating him, taking turns, beating him with nightsticks, kicking him, and they absolutely they let him go. And then the whole city caught on fire. The whole city rioted. And there was the fear of this happening again with OJ. And that would have definitely happened if that jury would have convicted him after the Mark Furman tapes when it came out. I mean, he had it in lock. Johnny Cochran had that locked. There was no other way for that to have happened. Didn't even matter at that point. At that point, didn't matter if OJ did it or not. There was just no way that he was going to get convicted under those circumstances. Just wasn't going to happen. Let's see. I'm not up in the law, but why did it take so long to put an arrest warrant on Brian? Did they have to wait till the bills came in? No, that's not what I'm saying. I mean, I'm sure that probably played some sort of part in it, but yeah, the bank statements, I'm sure, are what brought on the evidence. But in order for them to get a warrant, they have to be able to have enough that is going to convict him in court on that charge. So yeah, but you got to understand that everything takes time. So I'm not saying that they were waiting till the bills came in, but I am saying that they had to make sure that they had enough evidence to be able to convict him on the charge that the warrant is out for, as far as he's concerned. Because again, people, law enforcement makes arrests based on what convictions they think they can get. They don't just arrest somebody because in their head they know they did it. It's like in Training Day when Denzel Washington says, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And to elaborate on that, it's what you can prove in a court of law. Everything that law enforcement does is prelude to a potential trial in order to lead to a conviction. So they don't just arrest people just to arrest them. And if you falsely arrest them or arrest them without any evidence, well, then you may not get that evidence and that person may walk free. You know, I know of the Susan Smith case. I'll probably cover that in Patreon one of these days. Guys, Patreon members, I know you guys. I haven't done a Patreon in a while. This case has been really time consuming. I apologize for that. But I'll be doing one soon, I promise. And yes, they got that external hard drive during the search warrant, so they probably got the online log in her accounts. They could see that the charges happened after she disappeared. Good thinking. Because Josh and me were voice texting back and forth before he went live, and he speculated that the parents might have noticed and said, "Hey, well, look at this." But I also thought to myself, well, who's to say that they had access to her bank statements? So, you know, but that actually makes a lot more sense, crime story. That makes a lot more sense. That because we went over the search warrant for that hard drive, for the electronics, because they had to get a separate search warrant for the electronics. So they got a warrant for her for the external hard drive, and it wouldn't be surprising that they got the banking information from that external hard drive. That actually makes the most sense. Right. But the fact that he's running, yeah, I agree with you. I am not a defense attorney. I'm guessing by your handle that you are. But yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you for sure. Because I talked about this last night when I was live, and you know, like I said, it's not what you know; it's what you can prove in a court of law, right? So, when you have, when you have 12 jurors, you have a jury system of 12 jurors, right? Uh, nice. I'd actually love to have you on panel sometime if you'd like to. Um, but when you have 12 jurors, you got to understand, um, all a defense attorney has to do, basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jameson, but all a defense attorney has to do is create doubt in one juror, create enough doubt in the mind of one juror to convince them wholeheartedly, hey, there's no way I can this is somebody's life on the line. There's no way that I can convict somebody on what we have because I don't think it's enough. So all it takes is one juror to have a guilty conscience and think, man, I have, even if the slightest shred of doubt, if I have the slightest shred of doubt, there's no way that I can, in good conscience, can have this guy locked up. Just can't do it. Oh my gosh. Okay, no, never mind. Never mind. I just realized what this was. Yeah, I don't think that this is the Brian. I don't think this is it. For a second, somebody sent me a screenshot, and it has my image on there. Like from this live right here, but I thought that the person posing as Brian Laundrie was watching my live stream, and then it says, "Lord help me, I'm innocent." But no, it's just her phone. She took the screenshot, and my live was still running because my phone does that too. But yeah, I think that's just a troll, man. It's just a troll, you know? Yeah, Cherry behave. Cherry doesn't behave. I wouldn't want her here if she did. I mean, look, I'm totally convinced that this guy did it. I'm just totally convinced. Let's see. If I was his attorney, I'm going with an emotionally battered boyfriend defense, and he killed in the heat of a huge fight. I was thinking that too. I was thinking that too. Because he has that body cam footage to use as evidence. That could be used in his defense. That's proof. That could be spun to be seen as proof to a jury. Thank you, CC. Captain Cash. All right. What's with all these sightings of dudes walking around in the woods? um I don't think that that's the case, but um I mean, yeah, everybody, the whole country's looking at this guy. The whole country is looking at this case. Let's see. Yeah, I think so too, Jay Rose. I think so too. Yeah. A defense attorney could absolutely, I could do it. And I'm not even remotely a lawyer. Um, but a defense attorney can absolutely spin that footage. Think about it. And a defense attorney can absolutely spin that footage to show that that she was the aggressor. They could absolutely do that because the police are basically saying she's the aggressor. They're talking to each other like she's the aggressor. Right. Well, if I'm that defense attorney crime story, so you're saying the only problem with that is the witnesses at the restaurant that he screamed at for the 911 call that said he was hitting her battered boyfriend won't fly. Um, I'm not sure about that because they could spin that too. I mean, that's just a witness. I mean, yeah, a witness is strong, sure. But I mean, okay, and they can get that suppressed. A defense attorney can get that suppressed. See, I didn't even think about that. But I'm saying you could even spin that. You could just be like, well, why if the 911 caller says this, then why aren't the police assuming this based on everything that they're seeing marks on him and not her? Now, in that footage, you can absolutely see marks on her arm. I don't care what anybody says. You can see marks on her arm that to me seem consistent to someone grabbing her arm. So, but let's see what this says here. I love chatting with you guys, by the way. I love having this kind of discussion with you guys. Let's see. The glare. Yes, the could be, but a good DA can put out medical evidence to say that her behavior was typical of the wife who was a victim of domestic abuse, lived it. Um, well, I mean, that's not exactly medical evidence, but they could definitely get an expert on the stand and say that, sure. But that's not proof. That's not proof. Like when you have the thing is when you have body cam footage, first of all, if you have video evidence, right? Video evidence is already super compelling, right? And if it's police body cam footage, that adds to its credibility that much more. So when you have police body cam footage and you have officers in that body cam footage basically stating that they think that she's the aggressor and he isn't, well, you know what I mean? That could be definitely argued. And that could be enough to create doubt in only one juror. Because like this attorney here in my chat said, Jameson, uh, you know, that's the defense that they would go to, that he's the battered one, and they were in a fight and he defended himself. So he's basically going to go with a self-defense defense. I mean, but it's also going to be hard to convince a jury that an 110-pound girl was a threat to his life. You'd have to prove somehow. I feel like you would have to prove somehow that she had a weapon or something to that effect. I thought the same exact thing, Jameson. I thought the same exact thing. Should have made a deal. He could have led them to the body for an optimal deal. I made such deals multiple times. I've said that when we first were talking about this. Because I mean, there's no way that's not going to make him look guilty. Him lawyering up like that and completely shutting down and not cooperating with law enforcement. I absolutely thought the same thing. Hmm. Yeah, how we feel about this case makes no difference as to what the reality could happen, what the realities of what could happen in court are. It makes no difference. Your emotions mean nothing as far as what could actually happen in court. Like your gut feeling, like I know he did this or I know he did that. That means nothing as far as how things could play out in court. And is everything is prelude to what could potentially happen in court. Everything law enforcement does. I promise you that. Let me see if that. I think they will use this fraud charge to make a deal of sorts to get info. I mean, I don't know how well that would work though. Crime Story. Um. Uh. I don't know how well that would actually work. Yeah, yeah, you're right about that. Um, that's interesting. Parents won't be charged. You can't prove what they knew. Interesting. Interesting. See, because that bothers me. Because another thing that I was actually hoping for was the possibility that they would charge it, that they would charge them with something, and basically say, cut a deal with them. Like tell us his whereabouts, give us some information as to what his whereabouts are, and you won't get. We'll drop the charges of aiding and abetting or whatever it is. Yeah, I agree with you, Jay Rose. Yeah, because people watch too many cop shows, man. The only cop show you should watch, as far as cases like this go, is Law and Order. Like nobody wants to pay attention to what the DA is saying in Law and Order. Pay attention to what the DA is saying. The DA basically gives the police orders. They always butt heads, right? Stabler and Benson were always butting heads with the DA because the DA is going, go out and find me this. Like I can't go to court with that. I need more. They always do that. There's always this dramatic thing in Law and Order where they're like, you go get me this, because if you can get me this, this, and this, then, but until then, you can't arrest them. You got nothing to hold them with. Well, that's a civil matter. I don't know. I don't know if Jameson would know that. Yeah, exactly, man. You can't. Yeah, the first 48 is not this kind of case. And like 90% of the time, the first 48, like the way it works out, if they actually do make an arrest, well, it's because they got a confession out of somebody. Everything is interrogations in that. They're always bringing people in to interview. Well, this person said that we should look into this person and blah, blah, blah. And then they grab him and then, you know what I mean? Yeah, Jenny Everdeen, I agree with you. Smart move on the fraud charges. Very smart. Yeah, because like I said, I mean, if they get a conviction on those fraud charges, that buys them that much more time to put a case together to convict him for Gabby Petito's untimely death, or her homicide, as it's officially labeled right now. Well, I mean, but Jameson, you said that they can't be charged, that Brian's parents can't be charged with anything because you can't prove what they know. What if they find text messages between the two of them? You know what I mean? What if they find text messages, and they, what if they find text messages and, sorry, 1 second, guys. So sorry about that, guys. So I'm wondering if they find a text message exchange between one of the parents or both of the parents and Brian, and he's basically saying this and that, well then sure, why wouldn't they be able to charge? I mean, that proves what they know, right? Let's see. So it's not a very good argument. Different standards for a person of interest, even if they find they helped him flee. Remember, he's allowed to go wherever he wants, like you and like me or you, pre being a suspect. Right. Yeah, we discussed that before here too. The rules are different when you're a suspect, but now there is a federal warrant out for his arrest. The rules are different now. The rules are different. But back then, you got to remember, if they gave him a head start, even gave him money, right? They technically probably didn't break the law because he was only a person of interest at the time. So I would say it's more likely that they can't charge him based on that. They can't charge the parents based on that. Not so much that they can't prove what they know. They could charge him with that. I mean, but would they do that? You know what I mean? Like if they have a decent lawyer, I mean, how quick could they get out? On a charge, it's a flimsy charge, lying to the cops. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they helped him move. Now they can, I mean, Yeah, I agree with you there. I totally agree with you there. That the camping trip for 3 days makes all the difference in the world. Because I mean, if we're suspecting that they did that they helped him uh, evade law enforcement, well, you know, that camping trip is a big deal because they could have taken him out there and then they could have tried to do something with her body and whatever. But see, I don't think so because the body was found like what 250 feet away from the van where the footage was caught of the van by red, white, and butane. Uh, oh, I'm sure the camper in the driveway was searched. I'm sure. Um, I mean, you got to understand. The warrant was a search warrant for the property, and it was on the property. Okay, so only if they hid the body or lied to Ellie. Remember, you have the absolute right to not say a word having witnessed a crime. Sure, you absolutely do. You absolutely do. Yeah, he's definitely holed up somewhere, man. He's definitely holed up somewhere. I'm not buying this. He's, on the run. Yeah, Gemini, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Like I can honestly say that I have literally seen every episode of Law and Order SVU. Every single one. Some of them twice, some of them 3 times, some of them 4 times. But I have seen every episode of Law and Order SVU. Like, I'm proud of that because you know how long that show's been on? Man, I got so stoked when Stabler came back and he's doing the organized crime thing because it's a different show, man. It's a different type of show, and I dig it. It's totally a different type of show. Did I read the letter? Did I read about the letter that Gabby's parents' attorney sent to their attorney to remove her pictures off his Yelp? No, I did not. Oh, okay. See, that makes sense because if they clean the van, well, then yeah, that's tampering with evidence, right? Um, and it's not their property. You know what I mean? Now, what is this? Like the new stickers on the van. I remember when the footage of the van first happened. What happened was Red, White, and Butane put out the footage of the van, and almost immediately Josh went made a quick video about the footage in the van and showed it. And I was like, I don't know about that. We were texting back and forth, and I was like, I don't think so, man. I was like, there's the stickers on the van are different, and already, and I'm already very, very wary of people trying to get clout and insert themselves in this case to get clout. um and I just saw, I looked at the sighting of the van just and dismissed it just as quick as any other phony sighting of Brian that's been going on. But and he was like, no, that's the van. And I was like, I don't think it's the van, and mostly it was because of the stickers. I'm like, well, the stickers aren't the same. What's this guy doing? He's going around slapping new stickers on the van. And it turns out that's exactly what he did. It's exactly what he did. Um, it's exactly what he did. And it was her van. So this guy's riding around in her van, right? He's riding around in her van, and he's just what's he stopping at gift shops and chilling, right? Like, oh, look at this. And he's taking ownership of her van. You know, I'm going to put this sticker on here. I mean, he might have already had the stickers, but I mean, now all of a sudden he's taking ownership of her van, of her property, and acting like it's his. And he was already doing that. He was already allegedly threatening to leave her places. Like, dude, who is you to tell the girl that owns the van that you're going to take her van and leave her somewhere? Hell nah. Yeah. And he's taken right. I agree with you, Cherry. Very well put. He took ownership of her in general. Every action that this guy's taken leads to that conclusion. He took ownership of her. He was possessive. He was abusive. He spent her money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right. Yeah, like I don't know. I mean, nobody here's a psychiatrist, a mental health professional, for all we know. But I was just saying earlier before you were in the chat that just because they have Jose bias doesn't necessarily mean that they'll get off. Because I explained that the prosecution absolutely dropped the ball in the Casey Anthony case. Um, yeah. And in the comment about him being a sociopath, um, it was John Walsh. John Walsh was on Fox, like straight up. No, man, he's totally a sociopath. He's absolutely a sociopath. John Walsh has dedicated and he's not a mental health professional either, not that I know of, but he actually spent his entire life catching people like this, spent his entire life doing it with nothing but the thought of avenging his little son Adam. And he's like, yeah, he's definitely a sociopath and he needs to be caught. Um, but for him, I mean, when you watch him in that body cam footage, it totally comes off like he's a sociopath, like he just doesn't care. He's like, well, is there any way you can take me to jail instead? Hmm? You know, but I mean, dude, if there's the threat that my girlfriend is going to jail, I'm like, dude, please, officer, please don't take her to jail. Please. The timeline is definitely tightening up now with the new witnesses coming forward every day. Some people care just about hearing this case. Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Right. Yeah, I think that the credit card charges are just to where they can legally and then it's a federal charge and they can legally manhunt him. They can legally hunt him down, apprehend him, and hold him. And it buys them time. It buys them time. It buys them time to conduct a thorough investigation and collect evidence that will lead to a conviction. Yeah, Josh talked about that. There's a law firm in Florida, a Tampa law firm that put up $20,000 reward for information leading to Brian's capture. Yep. He is now officially a fugitive running. He wasn't before today, people. Understand that. He was merely a person of interest. So there was probably limited limited resources that they could have legally used in order to look for him. But now that he is a federal fugitive, then I mean I wouldn't be surprised if the U.S. Marshals will be looking for him too. Get Tommy Lee Jones up in there, Sam Gerard. You know what I'm talking about. Hold it right there, young man. That would be awesome. Mister, do you want to get shot? He's not. He's too vain. He's too vain. He's too narcissistic. He's not gonna. No, he's not gonna do that. Oh, so you do need a separate warrant. That's interesting. But I mean, if it was on the property, right? If they have a warrant for the property and the camper is on the property and they own the camper, I mean, doesn't that fall under that? You know what I mean? When I came home, there was a man in my house. He had a mechanical arm. You find this man. You find this man. Oh, Jesus. Bet you $5 to glare. Let's see. By issuing a warrant, they applied pressure on Brian, his parents, and his sister. Pressure bust pipes. It's just a matter of time now. Yeah. Yeah. Like now, he's definitely a fugitive. Warrant, not Warrington. Warrington. I mean, what gun, dude? All right, look, man. Everybody's talking about this gun. Everybody's talking about this gun. That there's a picture of Gabby with a gun, so a gun just has to be involved, right? I mean, dude, let me explain something to y'all, dude. Let me explain something to y'all. Okay. This is a picture of me about 15 years ago. I was a much different person back then. This is a picture of me about 15 years ago. And I mean, so like, so automatically, because this picture exists, if I'm involved, if I am involved in a crime, right? All of a sudden, a gun had to have been used automatically. Really? Come on, guys. Get real. Get real. Yeah, people just jump to these crazy conclusions, dude. Yeah, I I showed this. I shared this picture with people earlier, uh, and I was a much different person back then. Um, and the way that I put it to them was, if you're wondering what kind of narcotics I was under the influence of when that picture was taken, the answer is yes. Glad you're here, Mariah Ann. I'm not proud of this. I'm just saying, I was a different guy back then, you know. That's exactly what that was. That's exactly what that was. That was at a New Year's Eve party there in Miami, and a couple of us took pictures like that with those guns. Oh man, maybe I'll make. Maybe I'll make those shirts, man. Maybe that'll be like the first merch, the first Glare merch. No, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think she knows anything either. I don't think she knows anything either. Because I would imagine that if the parents are big fans of plausible deniability, well, then they were probably trying to protect her. If they're trying to protect him and all their actions are coming from a place of trying to protect their son, well, why wouldn't they protect her from any information that would link her and involve her? Oh, I should have never shown that shirt. I should have never ever shown that shirt. Um, or shown that picture. Sorry. Let me see something here. Um, yeah, Cherry, based on your message, I mean, if you want to share that link, that's fine too. I got no problem with that. Let's see if there's any updates. Let's see. If there are, I'm going to get stuck doing this live all night. Um, yeah, everything is like super old here. Hold on. Okay, so CNN is saying that Brian Laundrie left home without his phone or wallet, and his parents were concerned that he might hurt himself, which explains why the manhunt took place where they sent the law enforcement. But no, there's no updates that I'm seeing as far as finding Brian. Uh, yeah, so as of right now, there's no updates on that. Let's see. People are frustrated, but I respect the Constitution that much that I don't want anything done to them to mess this up. I mean, I agree with you. You know, I'm a firm believer in true and in due process. As much as here's my take on this. Okay, I want you guys to understand. Um, where how I feel about that. What I want is justice for Gabby and her family. For Gabby and the Petitos and the Schmidts. This is what I want. I want justice for Gabby, the Petitos, and the Schmidts. But I also believe in our country. I believe I'm a patriot, and I believe in our system, and I believe in due process. And I want to see justice done the way this our civil, in the way that our society has come up with. Our forefathers have come up with this system. Uh, and because each person has rights, and I want his rights met because whether we like him or not doesn't change the fact that he's an American and he has rights. It just doesn't change that. But on the other hand, if justice was served in some other way that I don't condone or approve of, I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to shed a tear because justice was served. You know, I'm not happy about it. I would rather, I believe that he deserves his day in court. Like anybody else, I believe he deserves his day in court. But um see, that's why you're a lawyer and I'm not. I don't know what litmus means. I don't know what that means. I mean, that's all I'm saying. I don't approve of it. And yeah, you should definitely not approach him. You absolutely should contact law enforcement if you see him. You leave things like that to trained professionals. You're not a trained professional. If you see him, report it. And that's it. Let the professionals do their jobs. Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. Like, there's no way. I mean, the thing is I look at the guy and I see him as such a little man, just a little man, you know what I mean? And I use the word man very loosely, you know, because I have standards of what I consider a man to be, you know. And I see him and I just want to thump his skull for him. Just one good, hey, what's wrong with you? Get out of here. Grab him by his ear, be like, come on, man, you're going to jail. That's, but that's not realistic. You know what I'm saying? It's not realistic, but I want to do that. I think about that stuff, but yeah, I mean, but the bottom line is he's capable of murder, which I don't think I am. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I am. So that puts us on very different playing fields. That puts us in a different level of mental capacity. And I'm not, you know, I can't relate to somebody who's capable of that. So I wouldn't even try to assume or presume that I would be able to outwit this person in some way. Because if he's capable of things that I'm not capable of, that gives him an advantage over me. So I'm calling people that are trained and charged with the responsibility of apprehending this man in a matter that is not going to put other people's lives at risk, or my own, or even his. Right, exactly. That's my point. That's exactly my point. Right. Yeah. What if that happens? Exactly. What if that happens? You tried to be a hero and then he kills you and then leaves no evidence, and then now your family's got to deal with an unsolved murder. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Um, I don't know. But I don't think it's fair that people have been putting that pressure on him, though. People have been like, oh, if I was the dad, I'd knock on those doors and I would beat the truth out of those parents until they told me where he was and blah, blah, blah. See, I'm not buying that. I'm not saying you're saying that, Louisiana girl. What I'm saying is, that's just not sensible. That's not sensible. That's not rational. Like, if I'm Gabby's dad, I'd like to think that if I'm Gabby's dad, what I'm doing is I am doing everything I can to make sure that justice is served. I'm not trying to mess with their investigation in any way, shape, or form, because I want to see justice served. I want to see this dude convicted and locked up for the rest of his life, if not, on a strap to a bed getting lethal injection, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And if he goes to jail, he gets locked up, and somebody shivs him, so be it. I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to go, oh, those poor Laundries. I'm not doing that. You know why I'm not doing that? Because they don't seem to care about the Petitos or the Schmidts and what they're going through right now. I'm not shedding a tear for this dude, and I'm not shedding a tear for his family. Just not. Maybe his sister. But the parents, that ship has sailed, homie. That ship has sailed. I get what you're saying. I'd like to think that I would like go the right way about it. You know what I'm saying? That I wouldn't just let my emotions get the best of me and then I end up doing something stupid that could risk him getting away. Do I think they're going to find the dirtbag soon? Yeah, absolutely. I have all the faith in the world with the FBI right now. The FBI right now is under so much scrutiny that has nothing to do with this case, not to mention the scrutiny that they're on with this case right now that they're under. I mean, get real. First of all, everybody's blaming them for him being on the run right now, which just is not fair, I don't think. And I've already explained why. But on top of that, Fox News is beating the FBI to death right now, calling corruption and saying that they've been corrupt for decades. So, you know what I'm saying? Right now, the FBI is like, whoever the director of the FBI is right now, he's going, this is priority number one. He's like, I got a microscope under me. You ever see those guys in the movies? I got a microscope under me. Right now, I got the whole world looking at me and waiting for me to make a mistake, and I'm not going to let you gum up the works. Like, that's what's going on. That's totally what's going on. Like the FBI right now is like, this is priority. This is under so much public scrutiny that they can't afford to mess this up. They can't afford to mess this up. See, I'm not saying all that. See, you're over here draining the swamp. I'm not saying all that right now. Right now, the FBI, as far as this case is concerned, they're my best friend. Hi, FBI. Good job. That's, yeah. I'm not saying all that. I mean, yeah, dude. The FBI cannot afford, as far as the court of public opinion goes, they cannot afford to screw this up. They just can't. All right, guys. I think I'm going to end that here because it's getting late. It's already 1 a.m. here. It's already past 1. But I really appreciate everybody logging on. And like I said at the beginning of the stream, for those of you that are here from the Dad Challenge podcast, thank you guys so much for subscribing. Thank you for joining me. And you're very welcome here. Everybody in chat seems to have been great. So I really appreciate you guys. Special thanks to my mods. You guys are the best. So thank you guys very, very much for that. I love you. And we will do this again very, very soon, my friends.